So, Freunde, wie aufregend ist das denn? Heute einer der bekanntesten DJs auf unserem Planeten hier bei uns im Kiss Tower. Total cool, Mr. Dimitri Vegas. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's up?
I'm good, man. It's good to have you here. It's like your first time at Kiss FM, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, baby, leave it all behind. Show me your love and I'll show you mine.
Let's talk about Gelsenkirchen, which has been a huge deal. Like 45,000 people, all there. Everybody just came. I mean, for you guys, it was not like a show, like a festival with a lot of other people. It was everybody, every single person, just for you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we broke a German record, biggest electronic show. So
Yeah, congratulations. Einen kleinen Applaus bitte aus dem Off. Yeah, that was so cool.
and I think it was a personal record for ourselves too. You know, like 45,000 people. That's crazy.
Being a DJ is a profession that has changed over the past couple of years. DJs are like huge rock stars themselves nowadays. People know you. They like you on Facebook. They recognize you when they see you on the street. Is this a change that you are welcoming, or is this sometimes kind of crazy and you feel like, oh, that's a creepy change?
Well, it's hard for me to describe as a change because 10 years ago I wasn't famous at all. So yeah, I don't really know how to compare. But for us, we're both very, I think, easy going guys, normal guys, and sometimes it's a bit confronting, you know, like when people start really going crazy or like crying or some, it's weird, but it's very cool actually. I never thought that would be possible.
Your new song is called Hey Baby. Is this about somebody specific?
Well, to be honest, I didn't write the lyrics, so no. I mean, it's for us. It was like a summery vibe that we wanted to bring in these winter months, and I think the result worked out pretty nice.
The video is like amazing. I was watching it and I wanted it to go on longer, like maybe 20 more minutes, because I was like, wow, that's so cool. Were you like totally involved in the process of creating that video, or whose idea was it?
Yeah, well, we co-wrote the story. We came up with all the backgrounds, all the little references to other movies. Is all our work. Yeah.
It's so crazy. I mean, it starts as an action comic. It turns into a horror comic with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a pirate story.
The pirate scene, for example, is Disney style. And then the horror is a little bit more the Dark Knight style. So we sort of, try to bring different dimensions. And every dimension needed to have his own drawing style and his own little pop culture references.
I mean, I like your music and I like you, but there's one thing where I feel like we can't be friends in the future, because your brother said you feel like you are Spider-Man, and this can't be because actually I am Spider-Man.
Well, what can I say? I mean, I can balance between Spider-Man and Batman, so if it makes you feel better, hey, go nuts.
Okay. We can change, because Batman is also very cool. Like.
There we go.
Since I'm a huge Marvel fan, how cool is that? You worked with Paul Jenkins a couple of years ago. What kind of experience was that when you look back on these days?
Well, he was very how can you say, open-minded, you know, like we worked a lot together on the script of the comic, and it's funny that you bring it up, because I didn't think of the comic in a long time, and recently I took it back in my hands and I was like, I'm actually really proud of what we did right there.
It was 2013, right?
Yeah.
3 years ago?
Yeah, a long time ago. And it was cool because it did pretty well.
And maybe one day Paul Jenkins will feature you in a Spider-Man comic.
Well, we're going to be featured in an X-Men comic.
What? Really?
Yeah, I don't know what episode, but I just saw the pages where they draw it in, and I don't know the story, but I think there's this huge storyline going on right now in Humans versus the X-Men, and it's sort of the end of the X-Men, and I saw a little page, you can find it now, because one of the drawers, one of the artists on X-Men was one of the artists who worked on the latest video, and he sort of drew us in one final epic, so we sort of exist in the Marvel universe now, which is pretty cool.
Wow, this is something you can tell your kids one day. I mean, how cool is that? As a famous DJ, you get to meet your fans. you also get to meet some fans who are very nice, and you get to meet some fans who are kind of creepy and maybe sometimes a little bit too crazy. So what was the weirdest or maybe the craziest fan experience you had?
I think one of the more intense ones was when we had this story of this couple coming together, and the guy was saying like, okay, you guys, you really brought me into through a very hard time. And then I met this girl, and she also went through a hard time, and I really felt like, oh, this story is going to be really sad. You know, it was like really before a really big show, like what's going to happen now? And all of a sudden the guy, no, not the guy, the girl gets on her knees, and she asked the guy to get married right in front of us. Like,
so it was a live proposal, and you were there.
And there were like other fans there too, because it was like a group meet and greet, and that was special in a way. Like I didn't know what to say. I'm like standing there, like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? But it was funny.
You were like, congratulations, I have to do a show now.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, because there's like all these people waiting, and they're like crying and hugging each other, and it's like this sort of movie moment going on, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, good for you.
You started as a teenager when you decided to be a DJ. It's like a profession that maybe not every parent will say, okay, it's a good one, I want you to do music. You have to get the support, and it's not always that easy to get the support of family and friends. So how was it for you to start this career?
I think, it's not like a 1, 2, 3 story, but I always wanted to do it when I was a teenager, and I was a very rebellious teenager, to give it a nice word. At a certain point, my mother was like, okay, enough, you should go to another country and work, because she also worked in entertainment when she was younger, and she was like, you know what, maybe this will put him on the right path. And she was right, because it sort of changed me overnight from a guy who didn't really have a lot of purpose apart from DJing into somebody with certain responsibilities, and it also made me discover myself in a different way, and see that I had more things going for me. And I worked in entertainment for many years, and I actually got pretty good at it, and I got a pretty good career. And at night, then I could DJ and like convince clubs to do parties and get the people from the hotels. And so I sort of made my little mafia racketeering thing going on, which got me a lot of opportunities. But then there came this point where Mike was coming back to Belgium, and he was like, you know what? Forget this whole being in other countries. Let's go home, build a studio, and just work, because we realized like, okay, this is good. We're playing locally, we're playing clubs. Every now and then you have a bigger gig, but if you really want to be in the big leagues, you're going to have to produce music. And I learned how to produce music over the years a little bit, but not crazy. So I gave up everything, and we built a studio. And for years, I actually slept on the studio. Our studio was like a double bed with a down bed sawn off, and it was like there was the whole studio, and I slept above it. So I can understand for my parents, it must have been a very big disappointment, because they were like, okay, finally he's got his life on track and he's got something going. Hey, you know what? I'm going to stop all that. I'm going to sit in the house with my brother all day making music. So, and
but now they must be very proud of you, right?
They just had to be very patient. So, yeah.
How did you change as a DJ and as Dimitri Vegas, the artist?
Well, I always was a very, how can you say, crowd interactive DJ, as in like when I was like a resident in Greece, there were like 10 clubs next to each other. It was in Zante, you know. So for me, I had to DJ like sets of 7-8 hours straight, every night for 6 nights a week. And the thing was, people go there and they drink very cheap, for example. So the clubs, they sort of get the people inside with the promise of, hey, you get a free drink, and then they hope that people stay. But it meant like playing one song that was wrong for the crowd, your club is empty, and they go to the next club. So
many options.
So I really learned from that to like, okay, this is how I think I have to play to keep my crowd.
What would you say is the most beautiful part of your job, of being a DJ, and maybe the most annoying one?
The most beautiful is hard to say. The most annoying one is easy. Is the traveling. That's a given. You know, like it does get old. You know, like traveling the world constantly. Like every now and then, you're like, okay. Now I would like to relax, but the shows and everything and all the stuff around it, it's amazing.
Everybody wants to know, since your new song is out, what is going to be next? I mean, like, people have heard that you might be bringing out something with Martin Garrix, for example.
At this point, we have a lot of collaborations going, but we sort of decided what the next single will be, and we're going to present it on our solo shows in Antwerp. So people should watch the live stream or come to Antwerp.
So this will be like the premiere of it?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Dimitri Vegas, it was very nice to meet you. A lot of success, and see you soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you. You too.